Welcome back to the Two Blues podcast. So close, yet so far. Periods of that game where I thought this Chelsea side is the Chelsea side that is going to be challenging with the big boys, that is going to be in amongst it this season. But still, the last 20 minutes just showed the difference, the levels to where we need to get in terms of professionalism versus naivety, rushing chances, not being smart about it. We have so much quality in this team, as evidenced throughout that game, through the first 20 minutes, the first 25 minutes, until Liverpool scored. We were playing some phenomenal football. On the ball, I thought we were superb. We controlled the ball. Romeo Lavia, I thought, was a brilliant, calming presence in that centre midfield. That's one of my gripes today is the triple substitution. Why Enzo Maresca felt the need to disrupt that midfield, to disrupt the team. I mean, a triple substitution is always going to disrupt the team. I didn't feel like in that stage of the game, we required such a drastic change. And Enzo Fernandez, look, I love the bloke. I think he's a fantastic footballer, and I do think he should be starting for our team. But today, why bring Enzo on for Lavia? I know you're probably trying to manage his minutes, probably trying not to injure him, whatever. Lavia was top boy again today. Every time he's played this season, every time Lavia's been on the pitch this season, he's been top boy. And I feel like the substitutions today disrupted the game. I feel like the game plan was wrong. I think starting Reece James was wrong because he was never going to be able to play 90 minutes. So I think Reece James is one of those players. Look, we have him back as a luxury. You play Malo Gusto on the right, Renato Vega on the left. I think if we had played Renato Vega on the left, I think he would have had the measure of Salah. He had the measure of Salah for 30 minutes. He would have had the measure of Salah for the entire game. I think we jumped the gun to force Reece James back in that team, and it was unnecessary. I don't know what the deal was with taking Tosin off. Maybe he was injured. Maybe he needed his minutes managed. I'm not sure. We'll need to see Enzo Maresca's post-match conference. But that was another one that I think was strange for me. The centre-backs are two positions, much like the goalkeeper, that you do not change unless something catastrophic happens or they get injured. And I think taking Tosin off was unnecessary. Obviously forced Levi Colwill over onto the right side, and Badiashile, came in, looked out of his depth, couldn't deal with Darwin Núñez, kept rising to the bait. Again, showed our immaturity, showed our youth, showed our inexperience. And I do feel like today was, and we know that today was the first game in a run of games, which is going to be, a lot more serious test for Enzo Maresca. Everyone, it's all well and good saying Chelsea have had a fantastic start to the season, 6 games unbeaten, 5 wins on the trot, whatever. You look at the opposition we've played, obviously we have to humble ourselves. We have to be realistic. The teams that we have played and beat are not going to be the teams that we're fighting for those top end positions at the end of the season. These teams that we are playing in the coming weeks, Liverpool, Newcastle, Manchester United, Arsenal, are the teams that are in and around the positions that we are going to be challenging for. So they are a much better measure of where we are at. And it showed me today kind of what I knew already, that we are there. We are close to being there. Sorry, we are not there. We are close to being there. We play some excellent football. The team as a whole, fantastic. But the individuals, because of their inexperience, because of their youth, I feel like they are, it's so much more of a confidence and momentum driven game. When we do concede, when we do have 5 minutes under the cosh, we struggle. The game does start to swing, and those momentum swings with Chelsea are far larger and they have far more gravity than any other team. Because when we lose our confidence, when the other team starts to have that momentum, we capitulate. It's like Levi Colwill, much like William Saliba, Rolls Royce of his defender. But today, those 2 minutes where he just lost his head and was just swiping at everything in the box, and you're just thinking, I don't doubt Levi Colwill is future captain, future Chelsea captain, future England captain, £100 million defender. I wouldn't sell him at any cost, to be completely honest with you. I think he's a crucial part of this project, with Enzo Maresca or not, but he typifies the whole team. The potential to be world-class, the potential to be the best of the best, but yet still just lacking that finished, polished edge. And it is down to inexperience and youth and naivety. And it's a shame because if we had held it together a little bit more, if we had the professionalism to win those duels and not rise to the bait and, not lose our heads in small moments where we didn't need to. I feel like we could have gone out and won this game. It was very, very close. I feel like Liverpool did deserve to win. Let's just go out on a limb and say very quickly, 5 minutes in, Liverpool deserved the win today. Also, side note, I thought the ref was shocking, absolutely diabolical, and not just for Chelsea, for Liverpool as well. Just in general, I thought the ref's performance today was diabolical. He was giving fouls where there weren't fouls. He marked Caicedo for about 3 challenges that he didn't foul in. He got Nunes a couple of times, Gravenberg a couple of times on 50-50 shoulder challenges. He was giving fouls. He was letting Salah getting away with murder, going to the floor every time. There were a lot of situations today. I mean, how he gave that penalty when Sanchez clattered Curtis Jones, but won the ball. How he gave that penalty, I do not know. I think it was so clear that Robert Sanchez won the ball. I just thought, in general, for both sides, I thought the refereeing was horrendous today. And yeah, like I said, decisions going both ways, not just Chelsea. And I'm not blaming the ref for the defeat by any means. I just think, in general, it was a terrible refereeing performance. And yeah, in your big games, Premier League, do better. But we touched on it there. Robert Sanchez, man. When is Robert Sanchez going to be ousted from this team? When is Philip Jorgensen going to be given the opportunity to stake his claim? Because it's not fair. What's happening to... I do not understand how Robert Sanchez is our number one goalkeeper. What he's doing. And he must be given the sloppiest of slops to Enzo Maresca and the rest of the backroom staff, because it ain't his goalkeeping performances. It ain't his goalkeeping talent keeping him in between the sticks. It's something else. The distribution is pants. Just pants. I think he obviously was at fault for the first penalty, and then yeah, I mean, to not come out and the Curtis Jones, you've already committed 7 times that game. You're giving away a penalty. I just think his decision making is awful. He's so rash. He's under pressure. He's a hothead. He cannot handle the pressure. And if you can't handle the heat, get out the kitchen. Chelsea have only ever succeeded when we've had a wall in goal, when we've had Petr Cech, when we've had Edu Mendy in the best season of his life, who was arguably the best keeper in the world during that Champions League and during that Thomas Tuchel era. Oh, this guy, man, is nowhere near Edu Mendy. He's not even near Kepa, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't see what anybody sees in him. I think nobody doubted and has ever doubted his shot-stopping ability. He pulls out some world-class saves sometimes, but that is nowhere near enough to uncover himself. I was going to say cover himself in glory, but to uncover himself in all the shit. He is entrenched in about 8 foot of shite, man. It is absolutely, honestly, when will the change come? What does Sanchez need to do to get dropped? Because he's made 3-4 goal errors leading to goals now. He's such a liability at the back. Sanchez is such a liability in goal. Jump in the comments real quick. And Rain, yeah, talk about a ref. Not just for us, even. There were decisions that I've just clocked as well, by the way. You lot pretty... Well, you've already clocked if you haven't what you're looking at. But yeah, no backdrop. Let us know. We've had a bit of a remodel, painting's been redone on the gaff. But yeah, I need to know what goes on the backdrop. So let me know. I'm thinking it's got to be at least one shirt. I'm gonna have to decide who. It's either Palmer or Thiago Silva at the moment. I think it's got to be Thiago Silva. I think we've got to do him that credit. But then again, I also want a JT. Who knows? What shirt should I put on the wall? That is the question. And what else should go on the wall? What else needs to go on the backdrop? I get the 2 blues signed back up at some point. Although Dad probably won't want that. We'll figure it out. But yeah, ref today, diabolical. And Salah could never be my GOAT, man. All these conversations every international break, who was better, Salah or Hazard? How can you watch Salah and enjoy that? It's not enjoyable football. He cheats. It's not aesthetically pleasing. He doesn't do anything. He's just, I think Salah is one of the most overrated players. Look, don't get me wrong. He's had fantastic seasons. His ability to be in the right place at the right time, and he's honed his craft, being an excellent finisher in and around the box. But mate, he's not a footballer. He's not a beautiful player. He couldn't chat to Hazard, couldn't lace his boots. You guys never blaming, complaining about refs, even though mostly make decisions against us. Look, I hate the whole ref narrative. So I'm never gonna sit here and say the ref lost us the game, particularly well, sorry, that's a lie. In games where he does lose us the game, I will say it, but it's very, very rare that Chelsea have anyone to blame other than themselves. And yes, the ref made some horrible decisions today, but horrible decisions that went both ways. And I don't think he made any decisions that massively impacted the score at the time. They impacted the game, but not the score. It's not like he disallowed a goal that should have been allowed, or gave an offside that should have been allowed, or stopped a build up, or didn't send anybody off. There were no real flashpoints in today's game that you could look at that and say the ref defined the game on one or two moments. But I think overall, as I said earlier, his overall performance was horrendous. I think the lack of consistency, giving fouls where there weren't fouls, left, right, and centre for both teams. I think it was a very, very stinky referee performance from whoever that ref was. I don't even know his name. Chelsea fans never defend the club as good as City fans. City fans, plural. Like more than one City fan. What internet have you been on? Because I've never met one. But if you've met multiple, fair play, mate. Chelsea fans never defend the club as good as City fans, Arsenal fans, Liverpool fans, which is a shame. Let's not categorize ourselves, or let's not put Arsenal fans in there, because the other teams have won European trophies. So Arsenal are more kind of a mid-table club in terms of that conversation and achievements and where they actually are, in terms of club stature versus reality. They think they're a big club, they're not. The other three are. We never defend the club as good as City fans, Arsenal fans, Liverpool fans. What do you mean defend the club, Rain? What do you mean defend the club? What is there to defend in the club that we are not defending today and now in general? I know Chelsea fans are arguably the most flippant fan base, and we're probably some of the quickest to turn on whoever is at fault, be it the owners, be it the players, the managers, whatever. That is just the way that we have been brought up with this Roman Abramovich era. And a lot of Chelsea fans can attest to that. We've been built on success. When it doesn't work, throw your toys out of the pram. Get a new solution in. More often than not, it's sorted in within 6 months. 18 months later, same problem. But, for 6 to 12 months, you're in bliss. But I'm not sure what you mean by Chelsea fans don't defend the club. I will defend the club. There are very few things in this world that I would die for. Chelsea Football Club is one of those things that I would die for. So, yeah, if you want to raise me the point, I will more than happily defend it. But, that's quite ambiguous, fella. Didn't give that Sancho pen 50-50 on the pen. I hear it. I think if it's one of those, if it's given, it's not overturned. If it's not given, it's not overturned. I think it's techie. It's touch and go. I think he's, it's one of those. But did Sancho really have control of it? And Gabriel's in the chat. Shout out, Gabriel. Appreciate you joining, my bro. Also, anybody joining, make sure to drop us a like, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Drop us a comment, get involved. This is a live episode, live match reaction. Let me know your thoughts. Who was the man of the match from Chelsea today? Man of the match on the pitch in general was clearly Curtis Jones. I don't think I've ever seen Curtis Jones have a game like that. But it's always the minors that come to play against Chelsea, man. Kelleher, I was expecting an Iker Casillas, prime Buffon performance from Kelleher today. We didn't really test him that much, didn't really need to do that much, but Curtis Jones was the one that turned it up today. But Gabriel, I mean, do you look? And this may come down. This is definitely one that's going to come down to personal opinion, because I'm a physical player. When I play, I'm a very physical player. I'm very in the mind of, look, if you're kicking and someone puts their leg in the way, that's not a foul. How are you supposed to stop your kicking? I'm should have allowed the 50-50s, let the game go on, let the game play. I like, big proper challenges. If you win the ball and the man, not a foul. if you win the ball first. If you can get as much of the man as you want as long as you get the ball first. That's the sort of player I am, and that's the sort of football that I like to play and like to see. Maybe that's just because I've been, brought up on John Terry. But I think that would have been soft. If they had given that, I think it's one of those that we're looking at now. In retrospect, I think we're looking at it as a defining moment. I think you could equally look at the Tosin foul in the 5th minute and say we got away with one with the yellow card. I think it was a yellow card. I don't think it was a red card by any means. But you could see if he had given a red card, we would have struggled to complain with Saliba yesterday with similar opportunities. Joachim Andersen yesterday was not a red card. The little push on the back, Ollie Watkins, wasn't a red card for me. But if that's a red card, you could argue Tosin's could be a red card. And I know you take distance into perspective, which half's it in, how far out from goal, is it a real goal scoring opportunity? It's, a lot of these fouls today were touch and go, were half of one, 6 of, what is it? 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. They could have gone either way if they had gone against us. If one of our defenders had stepped on Salah's foot like Sancho had his foot stepped on and we had a penalty given, I would have been fuming. Make no mistake about it. No two ways about it. If that had been given against us and a penalty had been conceded, I would have been absolutely fuming. I would have said he was nowhere, wasn't going to get the ball. He lost possession of the ball, lost control of the ball, sorry. At that point, it's irrelevant. If the foot comes down on the foot, don't fucking cry, wear thicker boots. Move on. I hear what you're saying. I do understand the Chelsea fans that feel aggrieved that we should have got a foul. However, I am on the side of that's one you've got to chalk up to. It's a men's game. If you can't tolerate your foot getting stepped on, it wasn't a stamp, it wasn't major. I think there's probably a stronger case for Darwin Núñez getting sent off than there is for a penalty for Jadon Sancho. Because Darwin Núñez got away with one because he absolutely swiped out Badiashile, which he should have got a booking for, then jumped to the floor, which is simulation, which should have got a booking for. I'm not going to say he should have got a red card for that. Let's say he should have got a booking for one of those two. And then he goes back and swipes Badiashile again, which he gets rightly booked for. But that should have been the second yellow. And small inconsistencies. And like I said, I think that's a stronger case for a logical red card than the Trent Alexander-Arnold one is a logical case for a penalty. But I do hear you. I do not. He didn't get the ball. Look, I know. But at the end of the day, you can make a challenge. There's a fine line. There is a little grey area where you can make a challenge, not win the ball, and it's still not a foul. Like a 50-50, like a shoulder barge. You're not going for the ball, you're going for the man. Both players are going for the man. All you're trying to do is knock that other player out of the way. So you can not touch the ball and still not give away a you know what I'm saying? There's that grey area. And I think, like I said, I can understand Chelsea fans that are aggrieved by it. I personally don't think it was a penalty. I think there were more important or bigger things to complain about. And yeah, I think if there's one thing you're going to complain about, I mean, I know I was talking earlier about Chelsea players losing their heads. Look, Darwin Núñez caused a problem for us today. And it's, again, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I think Jota's a better player. Jota would have provided a bigger threat going into the final third. But in terms of the pressing, the intensity, the hunger, the tracking back, the defensive work, Darwin Núñez, I think, is a superb player. And I think did harm our build-up today. I think he did what he was meant to do. He was a nuisance. He rattled Badiashile, who had a poor game. He put Colwell under pressure, James, Gusto, anyone that he could get his hands on, he was pressuring. And yeah, that's what unsettles this Chelsea team. When you do have, we can be playing fantastic football, but it's when you start to put the pressure on, you start to up the ante, you start to close them down, you start to make them think fast, where they haven't got that experience, that game management, like Caicedo has the quality to just do that quick turn out. A lot of them don't have that ability. And when you've got players like Darwin Núñez just relentlessly chasing you down, it does get to the point where you stop looking for the intelligent passes because you're already aware that you've only got 2 seconds to make this decision. You might as well just keep the ball. And I do, while I said earlier in the video, I think we kept the ball excellently, particularly at the start of the game. We can't just start halves well. The old Chelsea used to start halves dreadfully, wait until we conceded and then turn it on. This Chelsea side is exactly the opposite. This Chelsea side starts well, concedes, and then switches off. And what can be done to change that, I do not know. I'm not a football manager. I haven't got my coaching badges, but yeah, Enzo Maresca. I mean, we've said at length this week that this is going to be the real test for Chelsea. This is going to be the real challenges, the real measure of how far this Chelsea team has come since Pochettino, how far we've progressed, how far we've improved. I, for one, think the football that we're playing now is far better. But we also look more frail, we do look more inexperienced. We do look more prone to a wobble. And I feel like under Pochettino, we obviously had some slightly more experienced players. And I just feel like that's what we're lacking, And I alluded to it earlier this video. The last 20 minutes of the game, I feel like Liverpool just killed the game. And that's where, as Chelsea, we need to be going all out. I know we haven't won at Anfield in 10 years. We haven't beaten Liverpool now in 10 attempts. It's a long ask. But look, you're 2-1 down, 10 minutes to go. You might as well throw the kitchen sink. We're at a point where we lose 3-4-1. It's not really that much. It's not worse than losing 2-1, realistically. I would rather throw the kitchen sink and do a Tottenham when you're 2-1 down in that position. Let me just get that clear before anybody clips that and says I'd rather do a Tottenham. I'd rather do the orange when we're down. If it's already looking 10 minutes to go, like we've got nothing to lose, and like we are going to come out of Anfield with 0 points, fuck it. Throw on 2-3 more strikers. Don't do a triple change with 2 defenders at 60 minutes. You've got to be able to save João Felix, Mykhailo Mudryk, the player that wreaked havoc on his debut at Anfield. Didn't get a look in tonight because we put on, we planned for Tosin and Reece James to be taken off. So much talent and exciting individuals at our disposal, but we just lack the quality to unlock it. And yeah, I think that shows where obviously Arne Slot has inherited a Liverpool team that kind of similar to Pep Guardiola. They're in their groove. They know what they're doing. They know what their roles are. They're very, very good at their individual assignments and then coming together as a team, whereas this Chelsea side, while they are all good individuals, as a team, we're still struggling. There's still a disconnect. We're still struggling to see that the sum of the parts, and the amount of times I've said this over the last 6 months, but the sum of the parts is still less than the sum of the individual, all the individual parts. They don't add up to make a finished product, a finished article. There is still something missing. And it is just cohesion, I feel. But yeah, let me know what you thought. I asked earlier as well who your man of the match was. I think someone said Jackson. Yeah, Gabriel said Jackson. Let me know who your man of the match was for Chelsea today. Today, I'd say Lavia. I think Jackson was superb. Don't want to take anything away from him. Fantastic finish. Great run. Another brilliant assist from Caicedo. That's starting to look like a nice little link up, ball through the middle when he arcs his run. I think the timing of his runs as well. Anybody that watches Jackson from now, compare him to where he started. The way that he does hold back. He's not so gung-ho. He's a lot smarter with it. He's a lot more restrained in his runs and his movement. And yeah, the finish today shows that I know he could blast 4-5 over the bar every game, but it shows today he's got that in him. He has. Look, I'm very, very happy with Jackson and obviously Nkunku. Again, I think Nkunku didn't get enough time today. I would have put Nkunku on earlier, but in the 15 minutes, Nkunku on the left was a weird decision as well. I think I assumed it would be Jackson out on the left and Nkunku through the middle, but Nkunku on the left was a little bit strange. But yeah, I think Jackson still, holds down his position in the Premier League. And come next week, Newcastle, I think he'll be starting and I think he'll be scoring again. And also shout out to the Chelsea Fanatics podcast on Spotify. If you haven't listened to it or subscribed or followed it, whatever you do on Spotify. I don't know. We're not on Spotify. Go and jump on that. We did an episode this week, or I jumped on with Hamish and I think it's Ben this week. And just to speak about Tuchel, the Liverpool game. And Hamish did say that Jackson would bag. I think he did say that we'd lose, but Jackson would bag. But yeah, I think he's excellent player. His link up play again today. Some of his runs fantastic. He obviously just needs to again be a bit smarter. Got booked in the first half for delaying the restart on a penalty that they scored anyway. So a superfluous yellow card, about as pointless as you can get. However, yeah, on the whole of the game, I think Jackson was excellent. But yeah, my man of the match today, Lavia. I think having him back in there was a blessing. I think he's such a good addition. He's such a calming presence to the centre of midfield. And I think he was, to take him off and put Enzo on, I can only imagine that Maresca wanted to manage his minutes, wanted to make sure that he didn't get injured. But I would have left Lavia on. I think him and Caicedo bossed that midfield, which is tough to say because Gravenberch and Curtis Jones both had very good games. I think they did very, very well. But until Lavia came off, I don't think that battle was really decided. And, after that was disrupted, like I said, as much as I like Enzo Fernandez, as much as I think he's a very, very good quality player, and does get in the team when he's, fully fit, when everyone's available, when everyone's playing to their best ability, I think he does get in this team. He does start. However, unnecessary today. And off the back of that, the substitutions were a little bit strange. I would have ideally liked to have seen João Felix, Mudryk. I would have liked to have seen us go for it, but it is what it is. As I said at the start of the video, so close, but so far. Shows us that we have the same quality as Liverpool, but not over an extended period. That is where the professionalism, that's where the experience comes in. And you do need to just hold it down and play boring football. JC, appreciate you joining, my bro. Jorgensen to start against Panathinaikos. Yeah, he's the conference keeper, so he'll definitely start. I'm not upset with the result, but it still hurts as I think we were slightly better than Liverpool. Maybe a few months and we'll be fucking can't finish this comment. Maybe a few more months and we'll finish the comment. Maybe a few months and we'll finish the finished article. The reading of that sentence sums up where we are. Close, but not close enough. Yeah, I'm upset because Chelsea have lost. And I'm never going to enjoy the rest of my weekend when Chelsea are lost. However, yeah, it's not a lot on the magnitude of Arsenal to Bournemouth. So before any Arsenal fans want to get involved, you lost 2-0 to Bournemouth, bruv. Don't be trying to pass your embarrassment onto us because we lost to Liverpool at Anfield 2-1. So, that's a respectable scoreline. 2-0 to Bournemouth isn't. But yeah, I think it's frustrating more than anything because I think there were periods during that game where we showed we were bossing it. We showed, like I said, the football in the first, before the goal, the football in the first 20, 25 minutes was superb. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. These next 3-4 games are going to be incredibly difficult, I think, for the mental of this Chelsea side for the next few months. Because if we lose against Newcastle and lose against Man United and lose against Arsenal or don't win in the next 4 games, if we do not get a win these next 4 games, we could be going into a Christmas period, tight schedule, Europa Conference League games as well, League Cup games. We could also be out the League Cup if we lose to Newcastle. There are some. This next month for Chelsea, this next 2 months, is going to be very, very big. I say that like every month, every game is not going to be a big game. I think this season is going to be a season full of 38 massive games, 38 6-pointers. But this performance definitely gives me hope. I'm not going to say confidence because we lost, but it gives me hope that we can pull out performances against the bigger teams. The thing that worries me is that we did that last year and we were an absolute mess. we were losing against the small teams and then going toe to toe with the big teams. It's kind of a converse of that. It's kind of an inverse, sorry, of that so far this season. But yeah, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed because I see the potential of this Chelsea team. I see what today could have been a marker. Even if we had got a draw, it's a serious marker to say that we've, drawn against near top of the table Liverpool. Yeah, 7 games unbeaten. It would have been in the Prem. It's this. But Liverpool are one of those teams that we always struggle against, and it continues. I mean, back to the bridge in the reverse fixture. I think they said the last time we beat them was during COVID times, thanks to Mason Mount. Haven't beat them at Anfield in 10 years. It'll be 11 next year. Yeah, Liverpool are a team I do not enjoy playing against, and I'm glad to get it out of the way. But lessons to be learned. And again, we're just going to have to pattern up quickly because this team can't be grieving, can't be moping, can't be feeling sorry for themselves. I think a lot of positives. I would drop Sancho next week. I would start Neto on the left. I'd start Madueke on the right. Start Jackson, start Palmer. Palmer was quiet today. Not poor, but quiet today. I think he needs to come back into it at Newcastle next week. I'd start Lavia and Caicedo again. I think you can't not start Lavia. It depends who he plays against Panathinaikos, because obviously he could just fully rotate the team again, and then we're back to playing 2 different 11s. We'll have the boost of Kukurea and Fofana back next week, who I imagine will both go straight into the starting lineup. But it'll be interesting because you then have the question of, does Reece James play right back, Kukurea left back? Does Gusto play right back? Reece James on the bench? I don't know. I feel like if we played Renato Vega at left back and Malo Gusto at right back today, we would have been better off, but we decided to risk Reece James. I'm very glad he's back. Fingers crossed he remains fit. He didn't trigger anything today and he is continually available, but unnecessary, rushing him back into the squad. It was a luxury to have him. And yeah, I think a few of the small, as I've said, and I'm going to hark back to a few episodes that I've done this season, games that we've got it over the line against smaller oppositions, I've said that in the games of fine margins, in the games against bigger teams, this is where we're not going to get away with it, and we didn't today. That's exactly what I've been talking about. We made the same mistakes, the same overall performance as a lot of the teams that we played so far in the Premier League. You could argue that we did enough to deserve a win, but at the same time, we only have ourselves to blame, and we have let ourselves down again, unfortunately. There's no other way to put it. But yeah, appreciate everybody joining. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Obviously, Gabriel, Rain, JC, shout out every single one of you, everybody in the comments. Yeah, if you haven't already, tell your friends to tell your friends. Make sure to subscribe to Two Blues Podcast, man. Instagram, TikTok, the daily shorts are back. Like I said earlier, let me know what you think about putting on the wall. I need to get something on the wall, need to get the setup sorted. But for now, we're going plain. We're keeping it plain. And yeah, I'm going to have my daily shorts out. As always, Two Blues Podcast on the Instagram, on the TikTok. Mr. C Money Picks as the 3rd episode of Chopping It Up with Charms, which will release, tomorrow. He has sent it to me. I just need to chop it up aptly and post it tomorrow night. So that will be going up on the YouTube 7-8 o'clock tomorrow. And yeah, there's new cameras, so I'm going to be getting some new videos out to you. I'm going to be putting together the Loan Watch video this week for Wednesday, Thursday, and yeah, loads more content. Potentially doing a live watch along on Thursday. I don't know, and we might bring you something on Tuesday as well. Might be a big week of content for Two Blues, because Mr. C Money's off, so we're going to start doing a regular feature on Tuesdays. But yeah, it's about all I've got to say right now. Everyone, enjoy your Sunday. God bless and all that. See you next time. I'll see you tomorrow.